So in 2021, that's when you go amateur finally and compete. Um, so obviously you said that you approached Stuart about that to think.
Yeah, yeah.
So your first fight was against Darren Johnson at Fightstar Championships. 26 seconds. Just take me back to like the feeling of like finally getting your first amateur fight and then performing so well. Like,
Uh, so in that summer, end of the summer, I had my first interclub, and I remember I went in there, I took the guys down, and I submitted both of them, same submission, Americana, and I just felt like, firstly, interclub level, I want to, you know, I think I'm good enough to compete at amateur. Like,
yeah,
not interclub is good for experience. I always felt like I wanted more of a challenge, so I was meant to initially compete in November, but I got injured, so I couldn't. And then December came up, and I told Stuart, put my name down. So, you know, all I remember was I just felt so not nervous, but there was a lot of nerves competing for the first time. You know, the feeling of competing on a show, and there's a crowd and there's loads of people watching is different, definitely. In the back, I was just pacing up and down in the warm up rooms. You know, just all that nervous energy and excitement. And then when it finishes so quickly like that, you don't know what to feel really. I just felt happy, relieved. I just wanted to fight again straight after. You know, I don't like staying inactive.
um, your second amateur fight was when I first saw you fight live. At Contenders 32, you was fighting against Dan Wigan. Again, another finish in 21 seconds. But I remember my reaction to that watching. I was like, right, here come the big guys when you guys come into the cage. But you actually like just flew across the cage with like a flying kick, and I was like, this is a wild man. Um, yeah, take me back to that fight. And was that kind of what you just described? You had that sort of energy when you was pacing back and forth backstage. Did that kind of add to like this performance, this go round? Like, was you just eager to get out there and?
The story behind this one was, I initially was not booked for that. So his first opponent pulled out. So I got the message. I think maybe 4 weeks notice. 4 weeks notice. So I don't know what he was thinking. He was thinking I'm the short notice opponent. He's gonna run through me, and he's gonna make it look easy. And in the build up, like, his friends were messaging me. They were saying you're gonna lose badly. They was calling me names, this, that, and the other. On the day, he was acting a bit like, you know, when you go in the cage and you feel it out.
Mm.
Him and his team. They were laughing at me. They were just completely disregarding me. So I thought, this wasn't pre-planned, by the way, with the flying kick. As soon as I got in the cage, I thought, I'm just gonna fly and kick him. You know, I don't really care. I don't want to give him even a second, even a chance. So I just thought, let me just do what I'm gonna do, innit? Whatever happened, 21 seconds, knocked him out. That was an amazing feeling, getting the first knockout, and yeah, I mean, I think if you know me for long enough, you'd think it's not really surprising. But I guess if it's the first experience of watching me, then it does look a bit wild. But yeah.
So after that, like obviously I was there live that day, but it was one of those things that I see repeated like online, like constantly on the reels and like viral media. What was the reaction like from like the local community in like Stepney Green? Like now people are getting to see you out there competing.
Yeah, that one went viral
Mm.
in in the community. It got shared a lot on WhatsApp, so you might not have a lot of views on Instagram and whatnot, but on WhatsApp it went crazy because people were wondering, where's this guy from? Because whenever there's someone competing and from my background, they want to know where he's from in Bangladesh,
Right.
because they want to know what community he's part of,
Yeah.
right? And it just blew up.
Yeah.
Like, people, you know, they started to get behind me. You know, people from all over the country I see in the clip, and yeah, it went viral, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was the feedback like from your family now? I imagine that now it's getting out there.
They're just surprised because I'll be honest, I never really told my parents I'm going to compete and things like that. I just always, I don't know, I didn't keep it hidden. I just, they never really knew I was fighting at that time. But when that clip went viral, then they kind of knew. So that's how they found out that I was fighting. So yeah, the feedback was good. Like, they just, for people in my community to see someone of their background competing and winning is something very special.
So after that, in your third fight at Fightstar Championship 22, this is when you pick up your first amateur title. Can you talk about like the feeling of finally, like, you know, as a short amateur career already, you're picking up a heavyweight title in like a really respected organisation like Fightstar. How did that feel?
That felt like, so after the 21-second knockout, I actually in the interview I called for it. I said, Raj, give me that title shot, because I don't know, I was so excited, and then I got the title shot versus a very respectable opponent coming out of France, who was 3-0 at the time, and I sold a lot of tickets for that fight, and there was a massive crowd for that one. I remember, like, when I was walking out, crowd was crazy. Like, it was fully packed out wherever you looked. And I don't really focus on these things because I've got tunnel vision, but you know, from my peripheral vision, I can see, like, it's just packed out. So I just remember, like, I knew kind of what he was going to do, because I don't know, they're fearing the power. So I knew he was going to circle a lot and run around a lot, but I knew when I got my hands on him, I'd finish the fight quickly. And he tried to clinch up, and then obviously dirty boxing, uppercut, and then that's it. That's all she wrote.
After that, you're booked for Fightstar Championship 23 in November, the ill-fated show, which gets cancelled at the last minute.
The one we don't talk about.
So like you weigh in and everything, right?
Yeah, weigh in, face off.
Yeah.
I'm about to go to sleep. I look at my phone. The event's been cancelled, and then it gets deleted. Then I go and I talk to my coach, I think, in the group chat, and I was like, "What's happening with the event?" It just said it's been cancelled. I thought it was like a joke, or like, I didn't believe it. Then he's saying he's got a few phone calls. Yeah, it's been cancelled. Yeah. I just couldn't believe it. I was, you know, the night before you fight, there's so much excitement. There's so much good energy, because you face off with your opponent finally, and then tomorrow you're going to work. You know, tomorrow it's your time to shine. You've put in a lot of effort in training camp. You know, you've trained 8 weeks hard, and now it's time to, you know, display it to all the people coming to watch you, your friends, your family. And then it gets cancelled, and I just remember it was a bad feeling, but alhamdulillah, I had another fight booked in December.
Right, yeah.
4 weeks later.
Yeah.
So I got back to the gym. Just got back to the gym. I had another, you know, a title shot for up north, FCC, another big organisation. Yeah. You know, if not one of the biggest organisations in the UK.
And again, that so you picked up your second title there. But just before we move on to that, actually, I just want, like, obviously you've told us what was going through your mind and how you found out the information, but was there added pressure there, that added emotions when you find that out? Because also that was scheduled to be your first title defense as an amateur too. So when you're getting that information, like you said, you're excited, you're ready to fight, but I guess you had another title fight lined up.
These things, they can't dwell on your mind too much. You know, you got to just be adaptable. You know, everything, you should take it in your stride as it comes. You know, unfortunate circumstances. Yeah. Some floodlight was loose and they cancelled it. I have no clue how that works, but you know, it was just like disappointing. But what can you do? You know, you just have to everything stems from the training room. You just go back to the training
That's
room.
it. And like you said, you didn't have long to wait. You take on Jamie Acton, and that's where you picked up your second amateur title. What was it like competing for those guys? That's another well-respected show, a legit title to pick up there.
Yeah. So, Jamie Acton is a high level opponent. You know, he was a rugby player for a long time, and he trains up with Tom Aspinall and things like that. He's got a very respectable camp, so I knew he was gonna be well prepared. And this fight was one of those fights where you really test yourself. You know, he's a phenomenal athlete. You seen he's a specimen. And for that fight, I just remember it was a because I had to be straight back in the gym and not have that fight.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a it was anticlimactic to not fight, and then you have to get back in the zone again and things like that. It was just a bit mentally draining, and even on the night of the fight, so I had two teammates competing. It didn't go their way, and I was the last fight up, and we travelled all that way up to Bolton. And if I lose this fight, we're going 0 for 3. You know, so there's a lot of extra, you know, pressure on you. But when I step in that cage, you know, all of that goes silent. I just focus on what I have to do. He's a very strong guy, but you know, I just stayed calm, and another finish, another knockout, first round.
Another first round. You follow that up with another performance on Fightstar, 51 seconds, but this time you got to demonstrate your jiu-jitsu this time. You know, which is crazy considering that you started off with jiu-jitsu, right? Can you tell us about that fight? And was that always kind of an aim? Like, are you thinking to yourself like I want to showcase my overall game, my jiu-jitsu?
A little bit. Sometimes you want to keep these things hidden so people don't know that's what's in your arsenal. You know, you want them to find out when you know they least expect it. But that fight, that was my first title defense for my Fightstar belt, and it was an opponent out of MMA Factory in Paris. Again, I'm not sure why, because I'd rather fight, you know, someone from the UK, but if no one's accepting, then you have to fight these guys from abroad, innit? And Raj, thankfully, you know, Raj can get these guys from abroad, because I always want to fight, and it would be a shame if, you know, I can't get a fight due to just no one accepting it. All I remember in that fight I was a bit wild, swinging a lot. I just didn't have much respect for the other guy's skills, I guess, you know. These are things I just feel while I'm inside the cage, you know. Of course, I'm training I fully respect all of the opponents, you know, training hard, you know, never underestimating anyone. But as soon as I step in the cage, there's a certain level of feeling you get, you know. It's hard to describe. I think competitors know, you know, when you can just do whatever to someone. And I felt like with that guy, there's no way he's going to beat me that night. No way. And 51 seconds, guillotine, knocked him down, guillotine finish. I remember I didn't even, you know, have it on fully, because I thought I'm going to use this to sweep him and come on top and then finish him from there. But as soon as I heard him, you know, choking, that's when I knew it was over. So I adjusted it and he tapped, and that's it.
And you follow that up at Fightstar again, another title defense against Tori Asibawa, which was your final title defense there. He retires at the end of the round. Just like your final thoughts on that performance, and that being like your last title defense.
That performance, it was a very patient performance for myself. I knew Tori is 4-0. He won a few amateur belts up north as well. So I've seen how he's a survivor. You know, he doesn't really. He's very awkward to fight. You can't really get too many clean shots on him, because he's got really freakishly long arms. So he's blocking punches from here and there and everywhere. So, you know, I was like, you know what, there's no point because he doesn't really open. He's not really open for counters because he's not really that active. He's more of like a tortoise. I'm more like the hare, really. You know, and I thought at a certain point in the fight, I thought I'm not landing too many clean shots. I'm gonna take him down, grapple him. So got him up against the cage, took him down from there. Even while he was on the ground, it was kind of awkward because he's just kind of holding my glove in place, and it's hard to land shots. But you know, he's unfortunate what happened. For him. It was a bit anticlimactic. His knee popped and whatnot. And but you know, what can I do? I can only control what I can control.
Yeah, sure. You featured during your amateur career, you featured heavily on Fightstar. What was it like working with like Raj and the guys over there at Fightstar? It is one of the best promotions in the UK.
You know, I've had an experience of seeing what other promotions are like and how they run things, and I just think Fightstar run it just, you know, they run it very professionally. Like they're on point with all of their, you know, their team. You know, they've got a very good team, and they just run things better than other promotions do. And it's a pleasure to work with Raj, and probably, you know, in the future, if he puts on more shows, and you know, I'll definitely be looking. Of course, he's going to put on more shows, but you know, if I'm not signed to any major organizations, you know, I'd love to fight on his show again at Pro.
Add a pro title to the collection.
Exactly. Yeah.